C1 level. Rosie the Pink Bird's Journey. It is made by Storyteller in Languages. When Rosie was a little bird, she never knew how precious her home truly was until it was gone. She had grown up in a tall oak tree at the edge of a great forest. Her nest was a beautiful thing, built with delicate twigs, soft feathers, and leaves she had carefully chosen. It was warm, and the world felt small and safe within the sturdy branches of that tree. She spent her days singing with her siblings, exploring the vast green forest, and feeling the wind beneath her wings as she soared among the trees. But one fateful night, a great storm came sweeping through the forest. The sky turned black with clouds, and a wild wind howled through the treetops. The rain came pouring down in sheets, drenching everything in its path. Rosie's nest, high above the forest floor, swayed violently in the storm's grip. Rosie clung to the branches, but it wasn't enough. In the middle of the night, the wind ripped her nest from the tree, scattering it into the darkness. When the storm cleared, Rosie found herself alone in the wreckage of her childhood home. Her nest was gone, and with it, the sense of safety she had always known. Terrified and uncertain, Rosie looked to the skies, started to fly everywhere she flew. She found nothing familiar. The forest seemed vast and endless, and for the first time in her life, she realized how small she was in such a large, unpredictable world. She tried to find comfort in the shadows of trees, in the soft ground of mossy forest, but nothing felt like home. For weeks, she flew over unfamiliar lands, each place seeming more distant from the place she had lost. During her travels, she met many other birds, each with their own stories. Some were kind and invited her to share their nest. But Rosie couldn't stay. She would leave the moment she felt a familiar pang of longing in her chest. The homes of others, though welcoming, weren't her own. It took time, but eventually she realized that she needed to find her own way. No one could give her what she truly needed: a place to call home, a place that held the memories of all she had known and loved. One day, after weeks of searching, Rosie found a quiet valley at the base of a great mountain. There, in the heart of the valley, was an old white tree, its branches thick and strong, reaching out like welcoming arms. The tree stood tall and proud, as if it had been waiting for her all along. Rosie perched on one of its branches, feeling the strength of the tree beneath her wings. It wasn't exactly the same as the tree she had grown up in, but it was something new, something she could call her own. Rosie built a new nest with her own two wings, carefully gathering the softest moss, the strongest twigs, and the finest feathers she could find. It wasn't easy, and there were times she thought about giving up, but something inside her kept her going. Slowly but surely, her new nest began to take shape. By the time the first leaves of spring began to bloom, Rosie's nest was complete. It wasn't large, but it was safe, and for the first time in months, she felt peace in her heart. In the following seasons, Rosie met another bird, a strong, steady bird named Max. Max had also faced loss, but his journey had been different. He was quiet, but there was a depth to him that Rosie admired. Together, they made a family. They built a nest within the branches of Rosie's tree, and soon they had three little birds, each one of them as curious and lively as the forest itself. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains and the sky turned the color of soft lavender, Rosie sat with her children in their cozy nest. The evening air was warm, and the soft sounds of the forest filled the air. Rosie's little ones chirped softly as they curled close to their mother. Rosie looked at them, a smile on her beak, and knew it was time to share the story of her own journey, the journey that had brought her here, to this moment with her own family. "Children," she began, her voice soft but full of love. "When I was your age, I had a nest, just like this one. It was high in a tree, and it was my home. But one night, a terrible storm came, and I lost it. The wind took it away, and for a long time, I didn't know where I would go. I flew from place to place, meeting other birds and finding new spots to rest. But nothing ever felt like home." The baby birds looked up at her, their wide eyes filled with curiosity. "What happened, Mama?" one asked. "I kept flying," Rosie continued, "and even though I was scared and felt lost, I never gave up. I knew that if I kept searching, I would find a place where I could feel safe again. And I did. I found this tree. It took a long time, and I was very lonely at first. But one day, I looked at this tree and knew it was the right place for me. I built this net, and here we are now, all together." One of the baby birds titled its head. "Did you feel sad, Mama?" "Oh, yes," Rosie replied. "I was very sad, but that sadness taught me something important. It taught me that even when we lose something dear, we can still find a way to build something new. Sometimes it takes time, and it might be hard, but we can always start again." The little birds snuggled closer, feeling the warmth of their mother's love. "I'm glad we are here with you, Mama," one said, and the others chirped in agreement. Rosie smiled down at them, her heart full of love. "I'm glad too, my little ones. And always remember this. No matter what happens in life, no matter how many times we might lose something or feel afraid, we have each other. As long as we are together, we will always be home." And in the gentle embrace of the evening, Rosie and her family sat quietly in their nest, knowing that whatever the future had, they would face it together, with love and courage. The journey had been long, but the reward was worth it. They were home.